Alright, today I'm going to be playing with the drill press. You have, here's your depth rod for your quill, and like all normal drill presses, you have the little spinny nuts, which they work. They just take forever to get to where you want them to get to, especially if you're just doing something quick and you just need a depth stop. They do make ones that look like almost like a clothespin that you just clip on. They're usually made out of plastic. They're about $5. I figured I'd make my own, and it's not going to be like that. It's going to be what I will take is it's a piece of 1-inch aluminum. This has 2 holes in it. This is just in my scrap box, and I figured I might as well find a use for it. And what we're going to do is drill a hole in this and tap it 1/2 inch at 13 threads per inch. Now if you take a look at the way the Depthstop is set up, you only have threads on the 2 sides. The front here and the back are flat, and the distance between the flat on the front and the flat on the back is 3/8 of an inch. So I'm going to drill and tap that, knurl the outside edge, part off a piece, just an arbitrary length. Could be about 1/2 inch or so, probably around there, 3/8 to 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to use my milling attachment and just make a slice right down the middle to make it look like a C. I'm going to use a 3/8 end mill to do it. That will allow me to put it on sideways on this tab and then just turn it to lock it with the threads. I'll get a better shot of the side here so you can see what I'm talking about. Here's a little close-up shot of that feed rod. You can see that the front and back are flat, so that this is just shy of 3/8 of an inch. So 3/8 of end mill is going to make a nice slot in there, and I'll be able to make it like a like I said, just like a C. You'll be able to slide it on over the flat and turn it to engage the threads, and you can quickly remove it and put it any spot on that feed rod that you want. I'm going to be using the full piece of aluminum that I already popped into the lathe, and instead of just cutting off a piece and using that, I want to use the whole thing because I kind of want to test out my new, well, not my new, but test out the steady rest. I made new jaws for it and I put bearings on it and kind of want to see how that works out. So I have a piece set up in the lathe right now. We'll set up the steady rest and we'll see how that works out. And these here are the new jaws. They're completely new. If you watched my other video where I used the steady rest, I think it was on making the knobs for the bandsaw. The original cast iron jaws for this were pretty trashed, so I made some new ones just out of 1018 steel rather than using brass or anything. It's kind of expensive, and I put a couple of cam rollers, 3 cam rollers on the end, right at the tip, and that'll allow a non-marring surface to be able to hold this in place. So let me get this set up really quick. Now I just threw a dial indicator on this rod here. At the chuck here we're running pretty true. At the end we're running out about 4,000 or 5,000, so it's not that much. So let's put a little bit of tension on here. Bringing them in just until they touch. I can still move the bearing. Tighten down my set screws. And the same thing on the back here. Now we can just move it up to about where we want our work surface here. That should be plenty enough for me to be able to part off and knurl and do what I got to do. Make sure this locking clamp is in the correct direction. My wrench. Snug it down. Snug that down. And we should be good to go. There we go. I can still stop the rollers with my hand. That click that you're hearing coming around, right here, there's a line in the stock. That's what you're hearing hitting those rollers and clicking. So let's go and get you a better shot of the machining. Okay, first things first, we're going to face the end. Then we'll center drill and drill for our 1/2 inch thread. Center drill. I'm going to change to my tap drill size, which is going to be, for the thread we're using, 27/64 for 75% thread engagement. Something like this you could probably do 50%, which would be 29/64, so that'll still work. Because you're not holding any kind of load on it, you're just putting it on that little rod to stop your quill. Alright, that'll give me plenty of length to tap. This drill's pretty much had it. Either have to resharpen it or just get another one. And it's just definitely leading with one of the flutes, but Should give us a hole good enough for thread. Alrighty, let me set up my tap real quick, and we'll get to tapping this. And we're just gonna tap it. That tap and die holder that I made, the die holder part of it works great. The tap holder, not so much. That drill chuck is pretty shit quality, even though it is a Jacobs chuck. You can't really get it that tight to hold the taps from spinning. So I'm just gonna do this by hand. Maybe one day I'll revisit it and come up with something a little bit better, or maybe you guys can come up with something a little bit better. But right now, I'm just gonna hand tap that with my little tap follower in the back of my handle here. I already got it started, so just go the rest of the way. Alright, switch over and I'm going to knurl that. I'm going to use the knurl that comes with the Phase 2 tool post. I usually don't use that because to use it you have to reset your tool height, so you got to keep going back and forth if you got to use the facing bit on the other side. But we'll give it a shot. Alright, now we're ready to part off, so I square my part off tool. I'm going to use the face of the part. And we'll make it about a 1/2 inch in length, so. Right about there's good. Lay it back in gear. And there it is. So I'll just get rid of this little flash from the part off, and we'll set it up in the milling attachment. We're ready to mill our slot. Alright, we got the milling attachment in there. I squared the edge of this up against the edge of the collet adapter, which is relatively flat. And I'm going to indicate along the bottom of the non-movable jaw. Now there is a divot where somebody ran a end mill into it, so it's going to have a fluctuation at one point. But I got it preloaded. We'll see how far off we are. Alright, there's the end mill divot. Alright, so we're about 10 thousandths of an inch twist in there. Here's my little aluminum hammer. Take up half of that. Let's see where that leads us. And that's the divot. Alright. I'm pretty sure that's the best we're going to get it. I might be able to give it a little bit. I think that's as square as we're going to get it. So, we tighten it down. It's going to move a little bit because I'm tightening it. But you can just double check that. Still pretty much the same. Okay, so back this off. Take that out. I'm going to put my end mill in there and move the camera off to the other side. Alright, we're ready to get going here. Now I have the 3/8 end mill in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a cut back and forth, feeding in every time until I get a flat that's the same size as my 3/8 end mill. Once I do that, I know that that is the exact size of the end mill. I can plunge straight into it, and we're right in the center of the part here. So, and then once I find the center of that part, I'm going to lock the gibs on my my cross slide so it doesn't move. there it is. Not too bad. A little chattery on the inside there, but the other side's nice and smooth. If I need to refine it or anything, I can do it with a file just to make it fit. I'm going to knock down the edges here so it's not pointy, and I'm going to rerun a tap down it just to make sure the threads are all nice and clean from where it folded over when that end mill penetrated. So let me do that real quick. Alright, so here's what we're left with. I'm on focus, and got the knurl on it, the slot milled in it, and there's your threads. So now you can just push it on the side, turn it, and lock it in place. So if I want, say, a depth of 2 inches, instead of sitting here and going with the little turn ones, just clip it on. 2 inches. Whoop. And you can do the same thing if you have to hold the quill down for any reason. Same thing. And you still have adjustment of it, so you can get to the exact depth if you need to, but you can slide it at any point that you want. And it's a simple, easy, cheap, quick setting Depthstop. If you don't have a milling attachment, obviously not everybody does, you can always just do, if you have a bandsaw of some sort, just slice out the middle as best you can and then just file to fit. It's only 3/8 of an inch and you're only using aluminum, so you can go right through it pretty quick. Just get yourself a nice, I would say, 1/4 inch slot, even with the middle there, and then just file to fit, and you'll be golden. Well, that's it for this project. I'll think up of something else and see when I make that.